Hey, how you guys doing? African Rising Transcended Sage. This video is going to be a little bit different to most of the videos I have on this particular channel. Today we're going to be taking a road trip. But before I go any further, I'm going to apologize for my windshield being a little bit dirty and my windows cracked. Nevertheless, in this video I want to illustrate what Dr. Amos Wilson and Dr. Claud Anderson was talking about. I know sometimes it's hard for us to visualize what they're trying to tell us. So we're going to be doing a little road trip today. But I remember Dr. Claud Anderson also saying in one of his lectures that life is like a real life Monopoly game. And he's not kidding. Right now I'm driving through a predominantly African American neighborhood, and you can see, I mean, it's like driving through Baltic Avenue if you're playing the game of Monopoly. And by the time this video is over, you'll see that we'll probably end up on say maybe Illinois Avenue or maybe Kentucky Avenue if you was basing it off of the game of Monopoly. And that'll be a predominantly European American neighborhood, and you can tell the difference in the structure of the buildings, the houses, the roads, and etc. What I'm gonna do is cut this video into several parts because I don't want it to be too long, so I might cut it at 15 minutes. So when you hear Dr. Claud Anderson say
that 287,000 who were in quasi-freedom had succeeded in capturing 1/2 of 1% of this nation's wealth in 1860 on the eve of the Civil War. Here we are 140 years later in the richest nation on the earth, and you still own and control only 1/2 of 1% of the nation's wealth in the richest country on earth. You have not moved not one iota in terms of wealth. And make sure in your mind, it is not equality of opportunity, it is not integration, it's not civil rights that will determine your opportunities. It is what you own and control in terms of wealth and resources. Civil rights and integration gets you nothing. Use what you own and control to be a competitive group in our society.
With that being said, every business you see, it's the same video we were watching before, where every business you see here is owned and controlled by someone other than African American. Every single one of them. As I stated, we're in a predominantly African American neighborhood. But I picked this particular location because it's 5 minutes away from downtown. And we have a hard time conceiving in our minds that we're playing against an opponent that plans 10, 20, 30, 40, sometimes even 50 years in advance. We don't get it. This area has been gentrified, and slowly but surely the predominantly African Americans who live around here, they'll be forced to move because they cannot afford to live here. Even if they own the house, guess what happens? When you have all these businesses around here, guess what happened to the taxes? They go up. So a lot of the elder folks who live around here, well, they'll be forced out. And it's already happening, as you'll see in other part of the video, where it used to be predominantly African American, now is turning in slowly but surely turning into predominantly Mexican American. It's not there yet, but it's slowly happening. Like I said, every business you see around here is owned and controlled by someone other than African Americans. And we cannot understand. Like I said before, we are playing against an opponent that plans. Most of us can't. We don't make any plans past when we're going to get paid on Friday, or if you get paid every 2 weeks. That's it. That's the first we can see. You see, because we live in such dire straits, we don't understand. See, this building, this particular complex is fairly new. I mean, it's not all fully rented out yet. You can tell it's still new by the color of the concrete and the color of the buildings, and everything else is still fairly new. So I'm just taking you on this road trip so you can understand and have a better visual to go along with what the lecture says about. I mean, when Dr. Claud Anderson and Dr. Amos Wilson and others speak, you would have an understanding, a visual understanding of exactly what they mean. Now, this particular complex is going to generate revenue, and not to mention the person who owns the land underneath all these businesses. They're going to make a killing. But once again, all those houses you see in the background, those are predominantly African American houses. I'm touching on that for a particular reason, because I'm going to show you something in the next segment of this video. Not even the next segment, in the next couple of minutes or so, I'll show you something in this video. But let's take a look at it for yourself, and you can see what Dr. Claud and Dr. Amos is actually speaking about. When immigrants come from other countries and they make a beeline straight into your neighborhood, this is what Dr. Amos Wilson was talking about. They come into your neighborhood to set up businesses. As you can tell, those older houses there, African American houses that have been there years, just predominantly wood. Like I say, if this was Monopoly, you'd be pretty much in Baltic, probably somewhere over there, but with Vermont Avenue, I believe it is. But let's take a look at all of this power, this economic power in the form of the businesses that we don't own, that we just patronize. So we're just 100% consumers. Everybody's in here, the Asians, the Europeans, everybody's in here, capitalizing on our resources, our economic resource. But we don't seem to understand this. You see, we spend all this time focusing on clones, Anunnaki, gray people, reptilians, Illuminati, shapeshifters. I mean, anything to take our minds away from reality. And I understand sometimes reality can be a really, really hard place to be in. I understand sometimes you need to escape. But at some point, we're going to have to say, look, man, either we're going to start doing what we need to do, or we can just have to stop talking about our condition, just let it go. I mean, it's like I tell people, if you're not going to fix your condition, don't talk about it. If you're not going to get rid of that significant other who keep cheating on you, who keep beating on you, if you're not going to get rid of them, stop talking about it. Because I'm getting to the point where I don't want to hear about it. If we're not going to fix our condition ourselves and not wait for some politician to do it, because that's never going to happen. We're wasting our time. And time is one thing we don't have. I mean, if not for yourself, at least for the children. I mean, your grandparents, most of them are already given up. Most of your parents, depending on how old you are listening to this video right now, most of you giving up. Well, in this particular part of the video here, I rolled the window down and I sit the camera out the window, so that's why it's facing this way, so you got a better image of what's going on now. So you get to see some of the African American houses here and how some of them are in, I guess, okay condition, and some of them are actually in bad condition. But in between these African American houses, remember I said before, they slowly turned into be a Mexican American neighborhood. Slowly, like I said, probably another 5-10 years off. But I want you to take a look at this particular house right here. Now, this house was built by a Mexican American, and I'm pretty sure his friends and his family members helped him out. You see, they have something that we have lost: emotion, unity. We have lost that along the way. Now, look at the condition of his house in comparison to the African American's house on the left and the right side of him. You see, this is an African American house over here to the right side of him, and it's not in too bad of condition. It could use a couple of repairs, but somewhere along the line, like I said before, we lost that emotion. We seem to have developed this individualistic mindset about ourselves. We are not gonna prosper with that type of mentality, brothers and sisters. It will not work. But you know what the elder said.
Black people still don't get it.
Now I switched locations. Now I'm driving through a predominantly Mexican American neighborhood. And you're gonna see, of course, they have businesses in their neighborhood which they own and control. But don't get it twisted, the European American still owns the land on which the business is on. But nevertheless, though, they still have businesses in their neighborhoods. So, and when Dr.Claud Anderson was talking about,
nobody's ever taught black folk how to practice group economics. Your money is supposed to stay in your own country or in your own community and with your own hands and your own people, and bounce at least 8 to 12 times. But we are the only people that absolutely refuse to do it. We won't do it. As a matter of fact, we are against spending money with our own people.
Let me tell you something. If we don't do it, and I mean soon, you can forget about it. You're going to have a lot more of the same. A lot more of the protesting, a lot more of the marching about the same stuff that's been happening for the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Okay? If we don't take action, I mean really, really soon, you can forget it. Now, we're in the same neighborhood now. It's, like I said before, it's predominantly European American. No, sorry, take that back. It's predominantly Mexican American with some European American. but there's also some Vietnamese Americans in this community also. So you have a community within a community within a community. And I want you to pay attention. You see, this again is what Dr. Claud Anderson was talking about. When other communities come into a neighborhood, they come in with intentions of opening up businesses, not to petition about getting a job. That's not their main focus. Their main focus is to create a job, create a need for their people, and their people will support them. As you see, all the different businesses around here ran and controlled by either European Americans or Mexican Americans. All the different businesses you're seeing right now. But coming up right here on your left hand side, this is the one of two of the shopping centers here that's owned by Vietnamese Americans. And like I said, even like Dr. Claud was saying before, he said when they come into the community, they have their businesses in their own language. You know, got their names and everything on the business, so they actually let their people know that, hey, this is where you come shop. Where is our centers? Where is our businesses? You see, we want to compete, but how are we going to compete? You see, that's why I get so damn frustrated sometimes when we start talking about all this nonsense, you know. But I'm gonna get to that later on. But you can see the different places right here that they have. That's theirs. Everything you see in this complex here, you're seeing here, is owned by Vietnamese Americans. Saigon Music, you see, that's their supermarket. See, when they come in to a neighborhood, they come in with everything they're gonna need, and they support each other. We are the only ones, for some weird reason, we want to be an individual. I want to do it by myself. No corporation, nobody have ever made money by themselves. It's always been a team effort. I don't know where you got that logic from. Anywhere you can win it by yourself unless you win a lotto or something. But if you do the research on any family out there that has money, it was always a team effort. Even they stole to get the money, they still did it as a team. It was no individual person out there doing anything. I don't know where we get this logic in our mind that we're going to do it all for myself, all for me, and none for you. I don't think we realize that the concept goes like this. The more people you help get what you want, the more they'll help you get what you want. But I don't think we got that notion. You see, we have this strange way of looking at life, and I am not sure what the hell it's going to take to get us out of that type of logic. You see how I took the camera off so you can see the actual businesses from afar now, see it better from without looking through the windshield. And again, this whole big complex is owned and controlled by Vietnamese Americans. So you have a community within a community. You have a European community within a Mexican community within that, and then you have a Vietnamese community within that. See, this is how you're supposed to do it. Not the way we've been going about it, brothers and sisters. The way we're going about it is not working. Okay, here we have complex number 2. Again, you can see the Vietnamese names there. Every business in here is owned and controlled by a Vietnamese. You see, and once again, they got the nail shop, the buffet, insurance company, whatever they need, whatever their needs are. One of them opened a business and they support. I'm emphasizing on the support because it doesn't do us any good if we're going to create businesses and none of us support each other. So we have to change the way we look at things and the way our mind works. If we don't change our mindset, you can forget about opening any businesses. It's not going to do us any good if we don't change our mind. Because our mind is the biggest problem. I can tell you right now, because I have a family business myself. And I can't tell you the amount of times people come in there, mainly our people, actually to tell you the truth, always our people, wanting the hookup. Give me a discount. What can you do for me? What can you take off the price? How can I afford to stay in business if I'm always trying to take off the price to accommodate you? I digress. Anyway, you can see, like I say, this is a community within a community. Like I said here, this is Vietnamese having their own stuff in here, got their own shopping center, got everything they need right here. All the different names and everything, owned and controlled. Vietnamese, this is what they own, this is what they control. Where is our shopping center? How can we make our money bounce at least 2 or 3 times? When I get paid, my money's gone instantly. Who is going to take us seriously? when we always seem to be begging for something, begging for a job, begging for a handout. I mean, I know it hurts to hear that, but that's the reality of things. We complain when they don't want to hire you. How many Vietnamese you hear complaining about not getting a job? How many Arabs you hear complaining about not getting a job? How many Indians you hear complaining about not getting a job? How many Chinese, Japanese, how many of them you hear complaining about not getting a job? It just seems to be us just always complaining. They don't want to hire me because, you know, I'm black or something. I mean, look, man, get off of that, man. We got to start doing for self. Nobody said we can't do for self, so why don't we? I don't blame anybody or any other so-called race for doing what they got to do. It's about time we do what we need to do for us, okay? Anyway, I went over a little bit. I'm following back up with part 2. I do apologize for going over. Coming back with part 2. Stay tuned.